Hello, everyone. During a stream on Disconar's channel, Socky asked me to cover a topic that he thought of for a future video of mine. Well, that time is now. And the question that Socky specifically wanted me to go over was why people don't take their own advice. I'm going to expand on that to include why people don't follow their own advice and also why people will ask for someone else's advice but not follow it. So, to prevent me from rambling on, let's get to it. First and foremost, let us discuss the kinds of advice that we are going to be talking about. Because let's face it, this kind of topic usually has certain ideas in mind already when you ask the question. It usually has to do with relationships, life goals, ambitions, and things of the sort. It's very unlikely, for example, that that kind of advice that someone would give but not follow includes things like restaurants or things to do, recommendations, that kind of thing. With that in mind, let's move into why these topics are the ones that are usually the ones contested by oneself, but very eagerly given out as advice to others. To put it simply, my belief is that when someone has a relationship problem, they ask the question, what is wrong with my relationship? Notice the phrasing there. What is wrong with my relationship? It is so easy for those who are giving out advice to see the problems that others are facing because they are not in those situations, or so they may believe. To remove oneself from the equation, especially in interpersonal relationships, is remarkably critical to solving issues that may otherwise be clouded by self-doubt or by one's own emotions to the other in the relationship. So let's put a tangible example to all this because I've talked a lot about the theories I have, and I really should give a concrete example. Guy is dating a girl. Guy and girl are not getting along as well as they used to. Guy's buddy comes by and says, "Hey man, I feel like the spark isn't really there in my relationship anymore. Do you have any advice?" And so the first guy recommends that his buddy do something for his significant other. Take her out on a date, surprise her with a gift, etc. Buddy runs off after thanking his friend and goes on to try and make that happen. But the guy who gave that advice doesn't try it in his own relationship. Why? Well, personally, I have found that people will try and shift blame, saying, "Oh, it's different," or "our relationship is more complicated than all that." And this may be true. However, that is used as an excuse to dodge the question or skate around the problem that still exists. This is the most common reason why people do not want to take their own advice. They simply don't think that the advice that is given to others could possibly pertain to themselves because, well, my problems are more complicated than that. What it ends up boiling down to, however, is a reluctance for change, for effort. It is so much easier to talk than it is to do. You could be the best mind of the 21st century, but if you never make anything, never do, write, build, or fail at anything, your mind is essentially wasted. But there is some hope with this situation. See, the problem is that some people don't delve in too deeply as to why they don't follow their own advice. Sometimes it really just flies over their heads, like they simply don't realize that the advice they are giving to others could possibly assist them as well. The problem is with those who know the advice could pertain to them, but they continue to give it anyway, but never take it. I feel as if that one is the most common circumstance, as opposed to the former. Now, of course, as a reminder, I have not looked anything up. Nothing regarding this topic I am pulling from research. I am simply speaking off the cuff based on personal experiences and observations. So please, take everything I say with a grain of salt. To continue, those who give advice with all the introspection completed may see this as a way to fix others' problems, whereas he or she in question may see their own situation as futile. They have all the experience, they have experienced the same problems, and so they have ways they wish they could fix their own issues, but something within them is holding them back. And so the outlet for them is then to tell others, or rather advise others on how not to fall into the same trouble as they did. This happens a lot with parents. Now, of course, they are usually much older than the people they are advising, so it very well may be out of their control at this point, and so cannot necessarily fix some things. But they are basically trying to keep you out of their situation, keep you out of potentially meeting the same outcomes as the advisor did. So, Socky, I hope that satisfied your specific question. Thank you for asking them. As a bonus, however, I'm going to bring up a different kind of person, and this would be the kind of person who will ask for advice but then not follow it. Remember the example from earlier, the two guys who had issues in their relationships. Well, let's say the buddy asks, "Hey, what can I do?" He gets an answer, but then does none of it. But he continues to complain about the situation, like, "I don't know, I've tried everything, it just doesn't seem like it's meant to be, blah blah blah," right? Well, these people are either just looking for attention or seeking for something outside of the advice that they asked for, in my opinion. Mostly the first one. But we must be honest with ourselves, some people love to complain. I'm sure you are sitting there right now and you could name at least 2 or 3 people in your lives who do this shit. The way that I see this kind of human being is one that never grew out of the tantrum toddler phase. If I sit and cry, mommy and daddy are going to come by and give me what I want. Now, of course, there are major differences in, let's say, professional victims and people who try to get attention by constantly having the same problem and never fixing it, despite getting all the advice in the world. At this point, I'd like to throw out to you guys, the audience, another life lesson from Grandmama Trups. She advises me to live in the following way, and I will pass this bit of advice off to you. Do not let others take you for a ride. I will bend over backwards if somebody asks for my help, whether that be money, food, a place to sleep, whatever. But the moment that you stab me in the back, I hope you can handle everything on your own, because you have shown me that you do not really want my help. Basically, don't give people second chances when they choose to ignore you. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. I put up a post earlier on my community page with my email if you guys want to send me topics that you may not feel comfortable writing in the comments below. Just write them to TrupsLP@gmail.com with the subject video topic or food for thought. I thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon.